What's up, good people? KT here, co-pastor of Third Street Community Church, and I just wanted to personally thank you for being the best part of the best thing that Third Street has to offer, which is Huddle. I'm saying that with so much bias because I love Huddle so much, and I really thank you for either registering or returning back to this beautiful space that we get to bless up in together. We're going to eat together. We're going to hang out together. Hopefully we receive some good teaching. We're going to pray together, and we're going to be available for one another this season, and I can't wait to hear the testimonies that come out of it. We're going to lean on each other. We're going to cry together. We're going to fly together. Bad boys for life. I'm sorry. I need to grow up. But for real, we're going to lean into this space together and ask ourselves this question on a daily basis of, what is God saying, and what am I going to do about it? So we're launching this new huddle into this new huddle content with this series called I Am, and that just sounds powerful to me, right? Like I am, and we plan on giving you 9 weeks of content, 7 of those weeks. Really 8 of those weeks going into the I am statements that we find in John. I say 7, really meaning 8, because most people say that there are 7 I am statements. They'll go off Jesus saying, I am the bread of life. I am the light of the world. I am the gate for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the way, truth, and the life. I am the true vine. And then we will finish it off with the 8th I am statement, which is my favorite scripture of all time, which says, I am He. Jesus was very clear on who he was. He was very confident in who he was. He knew exactly who he was created to be. He was all knowing, right? But we don't always lean into the character of Jesus in this fashion and in this way. A little bit more, I see us actually leaning into the character of Moses. And what I mean when I say that is Moses struggled with who he was. He struggled with his weaknesses and his character, and we find ourselves seeing Moses in Exodus chapter 3 not saying I am this or I am that, but he actually leans into who am I in the midst of so many things going on at once, and him being confused and him being excited and him being whatever. He's not like standing 10 toes down like this is who I am. He's more going backwards a little bit saying who am I? And we really don't see any reason for Moses to have any struggles, right? I mean, he had no reason to have self-doubt. He was only hid as a child, put into a basket, found by and adopted by an Egyptian family, then raised by his original family, who was actually paid to nurse him, only with the rules that once he was old enough to no longer need to be nursed, that he would be given back to the Egyptian family who adopted him. And then he grows up in this Egyptian family, struggling with what I believe would be wondering why he looks one way and everybody else may not look the exact same way, or just that feeling inside that he wasn't really where he was supposed to be. And he has this strange attraction to what the Bible calls his people, even though he doesn't know them as his people. And then he goes out and he tries to help somebody, and then he kills somebody, and then next thing you know, his father's trying to kill him, and his people are like ratting him out, and it's just this crazy space with all of these things going on. And what he does is he just runs away. In the midst of this confusion, in the midst of this darkness, in the midst of weaknesses, in the midst of struggle, in a lifetime of questions, he just runs away. And I feel like right when things are getting right where he feels he's where he's supposed to be, then he's confronted by this bush that's on fire but not consumed, in the presence of a holiness that he can't explain. And he's given a task that he feels that he can't do. And it's a task for a God that he feels that he's unworthy to even be in the presence of. And he just stops in the midst of all of these things and he says, who am I? Right? I want to touch on a couple of things specifically. God speaks to him and he lets him know that he has heard the cries of his people, that he knows their sufferings and he has come to deliver them. He actually has a place for them, and it's a beautiful place. And God says, come on, let's go. I will send you to bring my people out. And Moses asked the question that you hear me saying over and over again, and it's simply, who am I? Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Who am I that I should bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And this is the thing that I want us to get out of this week's lesson. It's all culminated in the next verse directly after Moses asks this question. And it's just the simple fact that God never answers Moses' question in the way that I think Moses was expecting it. God doesn't, he doesn't affirm Moses at all. He doesn't tell him how great of a person he is. He doesn't point out this character attribute that he just loves about Moses. He doesn't say anything that would boost his ego or let him know that his emotional intelligence is right where it needs to be. God says don't worry about who you are. Just know that I am. Like, don't worry about who you are, but know who I am as your God. And know that I will be with you. Know that I am sent you. I think that's just amazing, and I want us to lean into that. I hope that your conversation today is just blessed with the understanding that in the midst of struggle, in the midst of weakness, in the midst of you having character flaws, in the midst of you knowing that you've run away from things, and in the midst of feeling like you're not worthy to be doing the things that God has asked you to do, in the midst of even struggling to be in the presence of his holiness and asking the question, who am I? God is saying, just know who he is. Know that he is with you, and know that he'll never leave you nor forsake you. So I'm going to get out your way. I'm going to let you answer some questions and lean into that space that we all came here to lean into, which is, what is God saying and what are you going to do about it? Bless up, and thanks again for being the best part of Third Street.